You all know I am the persistent queen, right? I am the girl that would give an author as many tries as possible. But these authors have gotten me to the point where I'm like, I am never touching anything you produce with a 10-foot pole. I don't care. If it is that they say, oh my God, Noria, the world is coming to an end. You need to read one of these books to survive. I'll be like, yo, see you in hell. Send me a postcard. Bye. Let's go straight to the top of the list. Jay Kristoff, author of Nevernight, author of Illuminate, author of Aurora Rising, and author of, I don't know, oh yes, his newest book, something vampires. See, I don't even know the title because I don't even care. Now, you all know I've made videos on my channel like raving about Jay Kristoff's books, which I enjoyed at some point. I did like Nevernight. I did enjoy, like really, really loved Illuminate. But I've reached the point where I'm like, fuck it. This guy is an overgrown baby and an asshole. Now, I'm certain if you're like, oh my God, Noria, what happened? I have a video where I made a commentary about all how shit went down. Was it last year or 2 years ago? Where Mina Reeds was talking about the lack of diversity in covers in YA, and of course attributed it to publishing because YA is always publishing very white, very cis, very straight stories, and of course the covers reflect that. And she said, oh, because she'd seen yet another Charlie Bowater art, and she was like, oh my God, yeah, same old, blah blah blah. Like art is good, like your art, your technique, everything is good, but like publishing really needs to do better. And then some Charlie fans were in their feelings and went into Charlie's DMs and were sending shit. Charlie like atted Mina and put Mina on blast, and then everybody came to the support of Charlie, including Jay Kristoff, who was like, yo, ignore that worthless noise. And I'm like, you have got to be shitting me. This is very valid criticism. For you to turn this into this black woman is making noise is very racist and very, very dumb. Who would have thought that you had a problem with taking criticisms? Oh. Little did I know, because see, I had not read Storm Dance. I've not even heard of. I actually legit thought Nevernight was Jay Kristoff's first. Why am I even holding up this book? I'm not giving him all that much publicity. I'm only holding it for the first time, so you saw what book. Like, you saw that cover. That is a rare, expensive ass cover. That was how much I was never getting into it. Anyway, I thought that was it, but turns out that Storm Dancer, which was his first book, I didn't know. I thought his first book was Nevernight, but Storm Dancer was this mess of cultural appropriation and just a massacre of the Japanese culture, and he was rightfully called out on it, and he ignored all of that. I heard later that he even drove off like a teenage reviewer who was challenging him off of Twitter. And then to make matters worse, I found out that the criticisms he got for the portrayal of Pacific Islanders in Nevernight, which was what drove the inspiration for Trick, was kind of like the same thing he did with regards like Japanese culture in Storm Dancer, and with that as well, he didn't apologize. He did not consider those criticisms valid. And then recently, after it was that news broke that he got 4 hard copies, and I'm like, 4 hard copies for the vampire book? Seriously? Seriously? Suyi is out here not barely getting any arc, but you're giving Jay Kristoff 4. Anyway, after then, like while authors were talking about it, some authors mentioned the fact that he was hanging out with, they didn't name names, but please, they said the author he co-wrote stuff with, so that's Amy Kaufman, right? He was hanging out with Amy Kaufman, and they ran into them and they brought up the fact that his depiction of Asians in Storm Dancer was inaccurate and it was insensitive, etc., etc. Because in an interview, my guy said that he got his, he did his research by drinking sake and reading Junchuito, and I'm like, Lord, give me the confidence of the overconfident white man. Like, But anyway, so, they brought it up very kindly during lunch, and he proceeded to ignore them and invalidate all their criticisms. I'm like, see, once a gaslighter, always a gaslighter. So yeah, I have multiple copies of his books. I have special editions of his books. I'm waiting for when the time is right and the value has hit a high so that I can proceed to sell it and I can make money. The extra money I will make off of it would be payment for the trauma that I have been through, because No, like never touching him again. No.
Another one.
Next on the list is this woman over here, Emily A Duncan. If you were not on Twitter, you would have missed it because I barely go on Twitter. I go in and out. My mental health has been going to shit. I'm currently back in my depression. Filming this video is work. Getting up is work. Eating, bathing. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. On Twitter, turns out that this woman was over here thinking that in her past life she should have been Regina George. Of course, she does not have the flair, the panache of Regina George, but she thought that she was in an episode of Mean Girls because Rin Chipeko brings up something about authors. An author, a popular white female author that was in author Slack and was basically called an Asian author ugly. I was bullying her because the Asian author's book was coming out in the same week as her book was coming out. Like, get this. She was bullying her and she called her ugly because her book was coming out the same week that she was. And what else? Oh yeah, she was like, oh, you know, the themes in their books are separate. I'm like, the reason why you're acting up like that is because that woman's book was probably way better than this mediocre trash that everybody was falling for, because everybody was like, Malakiash, whatever the stupid ass pronunciation of his name is. Because I read this book and I'm like, I gave it a 3 and I was feeling generous. It was just there. I'm so sorry, Sarah. Like, because I know you love this book, but it was just there for me. It was just meh. And I'm fairly certain, I'm looking forward to all the books that will come out. The books that are getting released the week that Blessed God's Weekend, whatever the fuck our third book is. I'm looking for the books that are coming out that week so that I can look for all the Asian authors that are getting released that week, and I'm buying all their books and supporting, because fuck this woman. Fuck this woman. Fuck her friends. How fucking dare you? The fucking audacity. Ugly. I don't want to say what I want to say because I'm not, unlike you, I know how to rise above attacking a woman's looks, especially with the way the patriarchy functions. But then again, you benefit from the patriarchy, don't you, white woman? So I'm just like, no, hell no.
Another one.
Next up, The Devouring Grey, Kristen Lee Herman. I've been saving this. Initially, I was meant to read this. The first time I got this was 2 years ago. I was meant to read it 2 years ago, October, for Halloween, and I didn't. Because I got into a reading slump. And then I was meant to read it last year, October, but you all remember last year, October was the protest, so I did not read it either. And turns out that the universe was just trying to save me, because my plan was to read this and then if I enjoyed this, get the second book in the series, because it was all gothic, blah 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 and everything, until I found out that turns out that she is very good friends with Emily Duncan, and they really were forming a mean girl posse and going after the Asian author, because they were like, it was a collective bullying, it was a supportive bullying, then it was a gaslighting of the bullied, because then they were on Twitter going on like, we did not know, and I'm like,
I gotta call bullshit on that.
You can't say that shit when there are receipts. When there are receipts, when Rin Chupeko is coming for your neck.
Why the fuck you lying?
Anyway, they came with their fake ass apologies. I'm like, I'm not interested. Bye.
Another one.
Next up is Rory Power. She wrote Wilder Girls, which is yet a body horror story I wanted to read. Keyword being wanted to, because turns out that she's also in the same posse with Emily A Duncan, Kristen Lee Herman, and some other author, which, I don't even know. And thank God I don't even know, because I don't even care. I doubt if I'm going to go looking for their book. I should probably note the name of that author so that I can, really, really avoid them next time. But I'm just like, do I even want to bother? Like, I'm never going to pick up their book. That's just how it is. Rory Power, Wilder Girls. Like I said, it was a mean girl posse. I'm not about to be like, oh, this person was this person was that. Nah, we all know that Emily A Duncan was the Regina George wannabe, and all of them were just following her. And now shit has blown up, and they're like, I talked to her in private, and like, I didn't know it got this bad.
Oh my God! Stop fucking lying.
Who do they think is buying this bullshit? I'm just. Whatever.
Another one.
Next on my list, and I'm so sad to say this, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. This used to be one of my favorite. She used to be one of my favorite authors. I almost attended her workshop, her writing workshop. I have been to her her reading sessions and autograph. Like all my copies are autographed. All of them are autographed. I took pictures with her. I was really close to her, like to her books, to the words she was saying, until she decided to go full on turf. Full on turf. And I'm like, the wording that you're using is one that has been used to hurt so many trans women. And she doubled down. Like, people tried telling her, like, sis, you cannot just say, oh, I don't think trans women are women, trans women are trans men. The fuck is that? The fuck does that mean? And she was just there, spewing bullshit. And I'm like, I have special editions of her books. I'm never going to read them again. I know she had a new book out. Some people are like, yo, have you seen the new Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie book? And I'm like, no, I haven't. Why the fuck should I care? Like, what? Not gonna happen. I'm done. I'm done. I'm not. Nah, like I said, there are too many great authors out there. Rather than pick up a book, I would continue reading Ayodele Olofintuande. That's a non-binary Nigerian author who writes with Yoruba mythology, and their writing is brilliant. I will pick up Akweke Emezi. Like, you all know, I pick up Akweke Emezi. I love Akweke Emezi. And I'm like, oh yeah, speaking of Akweke Emezi, when this whole thing happened and Chimamanda once again did yet another interview where she was still reiterating her turf rhetoric, Akweke comes on Twitter and mentions the fact that they attended, Chimamanda, one of Chimamanda's workshops and everything else. So in their dedication in Freshwater, the first print that they did, they kind of like, they dedicated, right? They mentioned Chimamanda because her writing was not crucial, but her writing kind of also did was sort of inspirational to them. And Chimamanda, the audacity of this woman, calls Akweke and tells Akweke that they should remove her name from their book. Something about, oh, yada yada yada, blah blah blah, bullshit, I don't really subscribe, blah blah blah, bullshit, I don't really want to be associated. And I'm like,
the audacity of it.
For a woman whose TED Talk blew up and where she was talking about the dangers of a single story, for her not to recognize the irony of the bullshit she's perpetrating, I'm like, sorry, I'm done. I'm not reading any more Chimamanda books. I have zero interest. I'm also going to find a way to get rid of this. Like,
Another one.
then there's this mess, Paul Krueger of Still Croak Saga. See, I got this book because everybody was hyping it. I saw it on Twitter. I saw it on Goodreads. I had some authors, like there was a author interview we did on Quarantine Pages where Tocho Yebuchi was talking about how this was like mecha and anime and everything, like all moving. And you all know, I don't think you all know this, but your girl loves anime. So I was really pumped and I picked up this book, trying to know, because this was a book they were like, oh, enter blind and be blown away. So I paid money for the full hardcover. I didn't get this on sale. Like, I paid full price. How much was this book? I paid $27 for this book that I have not read and I'm never going to read, because get this, the day it arrived, I kid you not, the day it arrived, and I picked it up and I'm like, oh my God, this book has arrived, was the day it came out on Twitter that this guy is a sexual predator. And I'm like, yes, so Paul Krueger, sexual predator, has been called out, lots of harassment, everything else. Apparently, he does this thing a lot with a lot of female writers in the fantasy, in the SFF genre, and I'm like, trash. Absolute trash.
Another one.
Next up is this one everybody knows, right? J.K. Turflin. I'm not going to bring out the book because everybody knows Harry Potter. We all know how transphobic this woman has been. We all know that she's been doubling down on her transphobia. We all know that she has the clout and she has the money and she's causing real harm. We all know that she's fucking ignorant as fuck. And I'm like, those books were my childhood, but I figured, like, what's the use of holding on to a childhood memory and everything else when she's causing actual danger to trans folks? right? Like, it makes zero sense. None. Zilch. Nada. So I am never... Harry Potter was the only series of her that I've ever read. I never did try out her Gilbert something. Now I'm really relieved that I didn't. I do not care if she decides to write something new and she's like, oh my god, because I don't trust that woman. When she comes and she's like, oh my god, I'm doing something else, because she would. I have no interest. I have no interest in, like, supporting reading her books. I have no interest in watching her shows. When she comes out with the next fantastic movie, I have no interest in watching it. Like, nah. Nope, not gonna happen.
Another one.
Next up is Stephenie Meyer of Twilight. I read Twilight in 2018, I think. Yeah, I think the first movie came out in 2017. So I read all the books prior to that. I felt like the writing was basic. I felt like the story was annoying. I like my vampires scary, and these vampires that were sparkling, I'm like, who gives a shit about sparkling vampires? Not me. And so that happened, and I'm like, okay. And then I found out the wolf tribe is Native American inspired. She basically stole, once again, like, colonizer behavior. She stole. She didn't give any credit. She didn't give any money. She didn't give any funding. She just took what she could and made money off of it and made herself rich. I was like, oh my god, Stephenie Meyer, blah 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 blah. People don't like my books because people don't like teenage girls. And I'm like, yes, a lot of people do not like teenage girls and what teenage girls like, but you specifically, you are a shitty person profiteering off of Native Americans and still saying shit. And then she had the audacity to release another book, Midnight Sun, I think. I don't know what the book is. I don't care. I don't give a shit. And everybody was like, Midnight Sun. And I'm like, I love how it is that everybody just has short-term memory. But then again, whatever, do you, boo? She releases that, and I don't think she still did not give the tribe jack shit. Because this woman is a liar. This woman is a liar, a profiteering, thieving liar. Like, that's just it. I have no interest, none, zilch. And finally, last but not least, here L fucking James. Just because... one, her writing is trash. Her writing is trash. It's so much trash. It's hilarious, but it's also cost me pain. I would never forget a friend gave me a copy to read. I'll never forget Mayowa. I will never forget. Thank you so much for traumatizing me. So she gives me this copy and she's like, oh, read this trilogy. It's so good. Blah blah blah. You all know how I read. You all know the average time I spend reading books. It took me 6 months to read all 3 books. That's 2 books. Like 1 book every 2 months, and I was not reading anything else because this book scarred me. This book put me in a reading slump. I think that is disingenuous. I think it has so many false narratives, and I think it definitely misrepresents the BDSM community. And up to that point, I had been reading like so many other BDSM authors, so I knew what I was getting into. I understood enough of the community to know that relationship, the relationship between Christian and Anastasia, was not a BDSM relationship. That was just abuse. That was abuse. And the way in which he represented it, new people to the community will go into that with that expectation and also set themselves up to be abused because Christian Grey is trash. That entire series is trash. And I heard that she signed on with some new publishers, and I'm like, please, God, no. Like, we're about to have another set of ELJ novels? Really? In 2021, we survived a panini. We are surviving a panorama. And people be here signing here fucking James in a panini? Why? Why?
What the hell was that?
But yeah, those are authors I'm never reading their books again. Let me know who are some authors you would never read, like absolutely never read. And yeah, sure, you can totally mention Sarah J. Maas. I know I have her books on my shelf. I love her, but that does not mean that you need to love her. So any author, like Robin Hobb, you don't like Robin Hobb? Mention. Ollie Black? Mention. N.K. Jemisin? Mention. I will judge you, but mention. So like just drop it in the comments. I'm very interested in seeing your responses. But that is the end of this video. As always, if you did enjoy it, if you liked it, do not forget to give it a big thumbs up. Check out my other videos. Subscribe if you want to. And if you do decide to subscribe, do not forget to click on that notification bell. So after you've hit subscribe, click on the bell so you can have all notifications turned on so you don't miss any of my new videos. I make new videos every Wednesdays and Sundays usually. Until next time, right? Stay passionate, love books, love your nerdy ass self. Bye.